Before I show you the 3 cheap steps that an old exterminator swears by, the same 3 steps that will finally get the moles out of your yard for good without you spending a small fortune, please do me one quick favor, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, because it costs you nothing and it helps these tips reach other folks who are staring out at a lawn full of tunnels and about ready to give up. Now settle in, pour yourself a cup of coffee, and stay with me to the end, because the most important part, the part that will save you the most money, is the part almost nobody tells you. Let me start by painting the picture because I think a lot of you know it by heart. You walk out one morning to fetch the paper or to look at your garden, and there it is. A raised ridge of soil snaking across your lawn like a vein. A little volcano of dirt pushed up overnight where yesterday there was nothing. The grass along the ridge is already going pale and spongy underfoot. And your heart just sinks, because that beautiful lawn you have worked on for years suddenly looks like a battlefield. And here is what most people do next, and it is exactly the wrong thing. They panic, they get on the internet, or they listen to the fellow at the hardware store, and they start throwing money at the problem. Chewing gum stuffed down the holes, mothballs, a jug of some special repellent. Those spinning pinwheels. And the worst offender of all, those battery-powered sonic spikes you push into the ground that are supposed to buzz and vibrate and scare the moles away. And I want you to hear me very clearly on this, because it is the first thing the old exterminator would tell you. None of that works. Not a bit of it. Let me tell you about this old fellow, because he is the reason I know what I know. He spent more than 40 years crawling around people's yards on his hands and knees dealing with these little velvet diggers, and he had a way of talking that cut right through all the nonsense. He would come out to a house, and before he did anything, he would walk the yard with his hands in his pockets, and he would shake his head at all the money already wasted. He would point at the sonic spike buzzing away in the ground and say, "Son, that thing has one job, and it is to drain its own batteries while the mole tunnels right past it." He had seen the university studies, and he had seen it with his own eyes across 4 decades. Moles feel that vibration. They might be startled for a day, and then they get used to it, the same way you stop hearing a clock tick in your own house. And within a few days they are digging right underneath it, the pinwheels the same. The mothballs, which by the way are poison to your pets and your grandchildren, the mole just digs around them. The chewing gum, that is an old wives' tale that will not die, the idea being the mole eats the gum and cannot digest the wrapper. But a mole will not eat gum, because a mole is not after anything sweet, and I will tell you in a minute what it is really after, because that one fact is the key to this whole thing. Now before we get to the 3 steps, I need you to understand your enemy, because you cannot beat him if you do not know him, and almost everything most people believe about the mole is wrong. First, the mole is not a rodent. He is not a rat or a mouse or a gopher. He is a small insect eater, a little fellow with velvet fur and great big shovel paws, who lives almost his whole life underground in the dark. Second, and this is the big one, the mole is not eating your grass. He is not eating your flowers. He is not even really after the grubs, no matter what the fellow at the store tells you. What the mole is hunting, more than anything else in this world, is the humble earthworm. Earthworms are the meat and potatoes of a mole's diet. And this one fact, which so few people know, explains the single most expensive mistake you can make, because the store will happily sell you a big bag of grub killer and tell you that if you kill the grubs, the moles will starve and leave. And you will spend good money spreading it all over your lawn, and the moles will stay right where they are. Why? Because you did not touch their real food. You killed a few grubs, sure, but the earthworms, which is what the mole actually wants, those are still down there by the thousands, in every healthy patch of soil in your yard. And you would not want to get rid of your earthworms even if you could, because earthworms are wonderful for your soil. So please, hear me. Do not waste your money on grub killer thinking it is a mole cure. It is not. The old exterminator used to say that grub killer for moles is like trying to get rid of a house guest by hiding the potato chips while he is sitting there eating a steak. Third thing you need to know, and this one will make you feel a lot better. You almost certainly do not have an army of moles. I know it looks like it. It looks like 100 of them have thrown a party out there. But the truth is that a single mole is a digging machine that can tunnel up to 100 feet in a single day in soft, moist ground. One mole works a territory of several acres all by himself. So all those ridges and mounds crisscrossing your yard, that is very often the work of just one, or maybe two, little animals. And once you understand that, the whole thing stops feeling hopeless. You are not fighting an invasion. You are dealing with one determined little fellow, and one little fellow can be dealt with. And one more thing before we start, and this matters, because it decides everything you do next. You need to make sure it is actually a mole and not his cousin, the vole. People mix these two up all the time, and if you treat for the wrong one, nothing you do will work. Here is the simple way to tell them apart. A mole pushes up raised ridges of soil and those volcano-shaped mounds, and he almost never comes up to the surface, and he does not eat your plants. A vole is more like a little mouse. He runs in shallow surface trails through the grass. He leaves little open holes, and he does chew on your plants and the bark of your young trees. So if you are seeing raised tunnels and dirt volcanoes, that is a mole, and this video is for you. If you are seeing surface paths and chewed up plants, that is a vole, and that is a different animal for a different day. All right, now that you know your enemy, let me give you the 3 cheap steps the old exterminator swore by, and I promise you they are simpler and cheaper than anything you have tried so far. Step 1, and this is the step that almost everybody skips, and it is exactly why almost everybody fails. Find the one tunnel the mole is actually using. Here is the thing about a mole's tunnel system. Most of those ridges you see out there are what they call feeding runs. The mole dug them once, looking for worms, and he may never come back to most of them. If you set a trap or put your effort into a dead tunnel he has abandoned, you will wait forever and catch nothing, and you will decide that trapping does not work, when really you just picked the wrong spot. So the old exterminator's whole method started with finding the main highway, the tunnel the mole travels every single day. And here is the beautiful part. It does not cost you 1 penny. All you do is walk your yard and gently step down on a section of each raised ridge with your foot. Just press it flat, pushing the roof of the tunnel down. Do this in several spots, and mark each one you flattened with a stick or a golf tee, or one of those little garden flags. Then you walk away and you leave it alone. And here is the patience part, the part that separates the folks who win from the folks who lose. You wait a full 24 hours, or even a day or two. Then you go back and look at the spots you flattened. Most of them will stay flat. That tells you those are dead runs the mole is not using. But 1 or 2 of them, the dirt will be pushed right back up again, popped back up like new. And that, my friend, is the jackpot. That is the mole's daily highway, the tunnel he travels to hunt, and he came right back through and repaired it because he needs it. That is the exact spot, the only spot, where you are going to focus everything. Finding that active tunnel is 90% of winning this fight, and it costs nothing but your foot and a little patience. Step 2. Set a trap in that active tunnel. Now I know some of you do not love this part, and I understand, because the trap does kill the mole, and he is a harmless little animal just trying to eat. So let me be honest and fair with you, because you deserve the whole truth. If you truly cannot bring yourself to trap, there is one gentler thing you can try first, and that is a castor oil-based repellent, the kind you spray or spread on the lawn. The science on it is mixed. Some yards it helps and some it does nothing, and it does not get rid of the mole so much as it makes your patch of ground taste bad and encourages him to go bother the neighbor instead. It is safe for your pets and your grandchildren, it is cheap, and it is a fair first thing to try if killing him is not for you. But I have to tell you the truth that every expert and every extension office and every old-timer will tell you. The one method that is proven to actually work, the only one, is a trap set in that active tunnel. A good mole trap, the harpoon kind that spears down, or the scissor kind that closes across the tunnel, cost you somewhere around $15 or $20 at any hardware store. And here's the thing. You buy it once, and it lasts you the rest of your life. You will use that same trap for 20 years. Compare that to buying jug after jug of spray, bag after bag of grub killer, spike after spike with dead batteries, year after year. The trap is by far the cheapest thing in the long run, and it is the only thing that gives you proof. When that trap is sprung, you know for a fact the mole is gone, and you are not left standing there wondering. You set it right in that active highway you found in step 1, following the simple directions that come with it. You flatten a little section and set the trap so the mole trips it when he comes through to repair the tunnel, and then you check it every day. Every single day that is important, both to see if you have got him and because in many places it is simply the responsible and lawful thing to check a trap daily. If a couple of days go by and nothing happens, that tunnel may have gone quiet, so you do the flattening test again, find the new active run, and move your trap there. Now some of you are going to ask about the poison baits, the ones shaped like little worms. They can work, I will not tell you they cannot. But the old Exterminator was not fond of them for the home yard, and neither am I for 2 good reasons. First, you never get that confirmation. The mole dies somewhere down in the dark and you are left wondering if he is really gone or just moved over 10 feet. And second, and this matters more, those baits are a poison. And a poison in your soil is a real risk to your dog, your cat, and your grandchildren playing in the yard. For a lawn where little ones and pets run around, a trap set in the right spot is cleaner, safer, and surer than scattering poison you cannot see. So that is step 2. 1 good trap, $15, set in the 1 active tunnel, checked every day. That is the whole secret that the gadget companies do not want you to know. Step 3, and this is the step that turns a temporary win into a lasting one. Repair the damage and make your yard a little less inviting so the next fellow does not move in. Once the mole is gone, do not just leave those ridges and mounds sitting there. Take a rake or just your foot and flatten all those raised tunnels back down. Press the soil firmly so the roots of your grass make contact with the dirt again. Then give those areas a good watering for a week or 2. And here is the good news that should lift your spirits. A mole does not usually do permanent damage if you deal with him within a few weeks. That pale dying grass over the tunnels is not dead. It is just lifted away from the soil. And once you press it back down and water it, in most cases it greens right back up. If you have got a stubborn bare patch left over, throw a little grass seed on it and it will fill back in. And then, to keep the next mole from finding your yard so tempting, think about what draws them in the first place. Soft, damp, easy-digging soil that is full of worms. Now you are not going to get rid of your earthworms, and you should not want to. But if you have a spot that stays soggy, a low area that never drains, a place where the sprinkler runs too long, that constant moisture is a welcome mat for moles, because wet soil is easy to tunnel and worms come up close to the surface in it. So fixing a drainage problem, or easing off the watering in a trouble spot, or breaking up soil that stays swampy, that quietly makes your yard a harder place for a mole to set up shop. And if you like, a spread of that castor oil repellent around the edges of your property, along the fence line and the garden border where they like to travel, can act as a gentle discouragement to any newcomer thinking about moving in. That is the whole method, and look how cheap it is. Your foot and a flag to find the tunnel, 1 trap you own for life, and a rake and a hose to fix the damage. No sonic spikes, no jugs of miracle cure, no bags of grub killer, none of it. The old Exterminator made his whole living on those 3 simple steps, and he used to laugh that the hardest part of the job was not catching the mole. It was talking folks out of all the expensive nonsense they had already bought. And I want to leave you with the bit of wisdom he always ended on, because it is bigger than moles. He would say that most problems in a yard, and most problems in life, get solved not by throwing money at them in a panic, but by stopping, looking closely, figuring out what is really going on, and then doing the one simple thing that actually works. Everybody wants the fancy gadget. Almost nobody wants to walk the yard, press down the ridges, and wait a day to see which one pops back up. But that quiet, patient, watchful step is the one that wins. So do not be discouraged by that torn-up lawn out there. You are not fighting an army. You are dealing with one little digger. The damage will heal. And you now know the 3 cheap steps that actually work when almost nothing else does. So let me ask you, and I would truly love to read your answers down in the comments. Are you fighting moles right now? And how long has it been going on? And what is the strangest home remedy somebody has ever told you to try? Because I have heard some wild ones, and I bet you have too. And your story just might save somebody else a wasted afternoon and a wasted $20. And where in the world are you watching from tonight? Because it always amazes us to see how far these tips travel and how many folks are out there wrestling with the very same little velvet troublemaker. If this helped clear things up for you, please hit that like button and subscribe so you do not miss part 2, where I will show you exactly how to read the tunnels like a professional, so you can find that active highway on the first try every single time. And if you would like to support this channel directly, the account number where you can send any contribution at all is right there in the description below this video, and every single one is deeply appreciated and goes right back into making these guides for you. Thank you for staying with me all the way to the end. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other and that lawn of yours, and remember this: you do not beat the mole by outspending him. You beat him by outsmarting him, and now you know exactly how.